Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Socratic Dialogue. Before we start the ST session, can both the teams introduce themselves?
Hi everyone, I'm Anushri Soni and today I'm the coach for Team Lexicon Architects.
Hey everyone, this is Nandini from HVT Lab and I'm a participant from the Team Lexicon Architects.
Hello everyone, my name is Dipesh De and I am part of Team Lexicon Architects.
Yeah, hi, I'm Yukta and I'm the coach for Team Cognitive Connectors.
Hi, I'm Daita. I'm a part of Team Cognitive Connectors.
Hi, I'm Shuchanda and I am also part of Team Cognitive Connectors.
Hi, I'm Zainab. I'm part of Team Cognitive Connectors.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sanjeevni and I'm the moderator for today's session.
Hello everyone, I'm Shubham and I'm going to be the co-mod of today's dialogue.
So, today's Socratic Dialogue is on language. We'll explore how language helps not just in communicating, but how we think, learn, and understand the world. So, we have two teams ready to share their ideas. Which team would like to go first?
We would like to go first.
Okay, thank you, Lexicon Architects. Before you pitch, can you please explain why you have chosen the name Lexicon Architects, followed by a short summary of your pitch?
Right. We chose the name Lexicon Architects because this isn't just about using language, it's about designing it. A lexicon is a shared vocabulary, and architects are intentional. So, our motive is great leaders shape the words that teams live and work by. And coming to our presentation, it explores a very simple idea that language shapes how teams think, decide, and grow. And by designing the right language system, leaders can drive clarity, alignment, and stronger culture. So, this is the first slide. And yeah, moving forward to the first slide. Let's start with simple idea. Language shapes how we think. The words we use don't just explain ideas, they build them. A leader's choice of words affect how people feel, act, and make decisions. So it's not about using big words, it's about using the right words, the ones that bring clarity and drive action. Moving forward. Now imagine this. One person says something is urgent, but what does that really mean? To them, maybe it's right now, and to someone else, it's by Friday. That gap in meaning slows things down. That's why great team builds a shared language, where keywords mean the same to everyone. Because without that, you don't have alignment, you have confusion. Moving to Anushri.
If teams speak same mental language, like they share the same jokes, um, same rituals, or even like same phrases. This is all about building connections and showing them. Metaphors like leaking optimism or um, having the lead stage, they all mean same thing to the team. So language is not just practical, it actually creates the culture in a team. Moving forward, let's talk about the practical aspect of the connection. So words like, done or deadline, if not conveyed properly or if not understood similar by everyone in the team, they can lead to mistakes. Some people may consider that the deadline was today, or some people may consider that the deadline is at the end of the week. This is why the establishment of shared vocabulary is necessary by the leader. Moving forward, Deepesh.
This is where leadership comes in. Leaders don't just speak, they set the tone for how the team speaks. If you want better decision and smoother collaboration, you can't leave language to chance. Use words that promote clarity, ownership, and trust because language is not just about style, it's about how strategy comes to life. Moving forward. So, what does all this mean? Language isn't a soft skill, it's a system, one that shapes how people think, act, and align. If leader want faster decision, stronger culture, and better teamwork, they must design the words their team thrive by, because in the end, better words build better teams.
Thank you, Team Lexicon Architects. Over to Team Cognitive Connectors for their questions.
I have a question. Like, how do you think a language helps when we use a right phrase to talk to someone or to react to some situation? So how it helps us, the other person, to understand, or to yourself as well, so that you don't panic at that moment?
Can you elaborate a bit? I don't exactly get the question.
Okay, there are times when you 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 are in a situation where you need to use right phrases or right communication so that other person won't take you in another way, or you are not into a panic mode. So how does it helps? How language comes in this place?
Yeah, I think it's about the tonality. The choice of words we are using, it's impacting a lot, because same thing can be presented in a various ways, and that's when the language and the choice of words comes. Some, maybe for example, let it be a critical acclaim thing. If you use harsh or negative words, it might impact on a person's psyche very difficultly. But if you use positive and encouraging words and just relay the same message for improvement, the person might actually focus on growth. So language helps in that way.
Like, ask you a question. Like the both person, let's say there are two-person and both of them has a similar intention, but the language they are using is different. So how you make sure that you are showing the intentions which you want to say in your words?
I will try to make it more clear. Don't use anything jargon heavy, and assuming that we are speaking the same language, as in same dialect, or nothing Hindi or Marathi, that would be different. But even if it's working, we can use sign languages or drawing. But let's assume both of them are Marathi speakers or Bengali speakers, and make it very simple. Use it the simple. If I can explain it to a 5-year-old, then I think my communication skills will improve.
Got it.
Adding on to this, it also matters when we have a shared understanding of each other's metrics or language, so that we can use to actually define what we are trying and what our intentions are with whatever we are trying to convey. So I think that it needs to be tried from day one to actually learn their language as well, in whatever reference it is, and to convey in a better manner to them.
Right.
Okay, so I have one question, like, uh, what impact is in, like, in terms of when you are using any language, what impact it builds when you are communicating within your team members, or when you are communicating with the outer vendors for your teamwork or for work in your company?
Impact as in both the cases for both the team or an outer vendor.
Yes.
Uh, I would like to answer. Basically, every team or every sphere have a precision language that suits their needs. But it's also important to keep it simple and keep both the elements equal importance. Yes, it's personalized, but it's also not something which people need very tough time to adjust or adapt to. So when we convey the message to outside vendors, they will also get it, and same culture also stays in our internal review. So both the factors, we should focus on both the factors, so it gets carried on.
Okay, so I have one follow-up question. Do you think like while you are communicating within your team members or while you are communicating with outer vendors, like the communication or the language should be same or should be different?
Varies, I guess. It depends on context to context.
Okay, I have a question next. So, how do you, as a leader, make sure that the words or the language you're using actually is driving the action and like doesn't just sound super motivational and sounds good in the moment? Like, is there a specific tone that you're using?
I think that lies in the simplicity of the language along with using specific terms. Like as Nandini mentioned that uh, we need to establish a language, but meanwhile we also need to keep it simple so that people can adapt and do not just think that, the leader is bluffing. He just wants to use the words that might motivate us and may not lead something practical or may not lead us anywhere. That is something practical. So, while also keeping the language according to the ecosystem, according to our needs, but at the same time considering that it is simple and easy to adapt for people so that it does not create the cognitive load and actually makes people believe that, okay, these things are achievable and we need to adapt to these things.
A question, Anushri. As you mentioned that making it simple. Daita's question was basically that how do you get ahead from that? That this is just motivational, right? So, do you think that just making something simple is good enough as a leader when you're forming a language system, right? Just being simple, will that be enough to carry forward the entire execution, the strategies, whatever goes on in the organization?
I think that it might not just be enough to keep things simple and like people need to use the words like when I came in DT, I heard of this word transcendence. I was not aware what that meant, but actually to get I will say like the knowledge of what it means, I had to break it down into the simpler thing or maybe explain it in a simpler manner. So I think when the simpler language is used along with these words, you just learn it and adapt to it in a line of course. Like for the starting 2 3 days, I was not e- even though I was reminded that what does that mean, but my mind was not able to catch it another day that okay, that was what it means. But with the course of time, I guess I got adapted to that vocabulary. So I think we can start with the simple system and we can adapt to the more complex language, more complex words that is required by the ecosystem that we are.
Adding on to that, I think any concept can be made simple and people can learn it better if we use the language better. For example, a teacher while communicating, if they use very jargon heavy or tough, the student might not understand. Same goes for business or interns. If you just go dive into anything technical, there would be some difficulty, but if we use simple approach, so the communication just goes on. So the concept can be very difficult, but the way we present it, so the language plays a key role.
Got it, Nandini. I just wanted to tap into the point that, it's not just about maybe like the way I'm thinking, is it only about the words that we're speaking or actually getting into the mindset of the people who are in front of you while you communicate it to them, right? Uh, Is it, is language going only with the words that we're talking about or actually tapping into the cognition of the person in front of you?
Think both goes parallelly, right? Because if we want to get into the mind of a person, we should be able to like get into it in a very simple way. Let's come to the motivating part. And if some maybe my team is feeling very burned out and they think everything is work getting heavier and intense. And if I just try to motivate them in a very technical or very savvy way, they will feel more burned out. They will think it's pointless and they will think I'm just trying to sell them something, or it's just not working and I am being selfish leader. But if I just make it simple for them and try to encourage them that okay, whatever you're feeling, we can just simplify it, then it becomes easier. And they might just go on. And even if I am giving them, circling around a concept, they will not be focused because their mindset is not there. So keeping it direct, keeping it simple, and uh, keeping it crisp, it will actually be beneficial than going around in tangents.
Got it, Nandit. Any other questions? Team Cognitive Connect. Okay, so we can close this round and over to you, Team Cognitive Connectors, for your pitch. First, please let us know why you decided this name and give us a short summary of your pitch.
Hi everyone. We named our team the Cognitive Connectors because it shows how language connects people's ideas to build a smarter and stronger organization. We focus on using language to bring minds together and create a shared culture that grows with the company. To summarize our pitch, language is more than just talking. It shapes how people think, work together, and build strong teams. When leaders use clear and shared words, everyone understands the goals better and the teams become more connected. Moving forward. Yes, language isn't just for communication, it shapes how we think, act, and get things done. So, if we take the word ownership as an example, for one person, it means just completing a task, and for another, it might mean that ensuring the outcome is solid, even going beyond their role. So, that's why shared language is key to clarity, alignment, and effective leadership. Over to Suchanda.
So, language is not just about communication, it's about meaning, and it carries the weight of our thoughts and cultures and shaping how we perceive and interact with the world. So, teams design their own vocabularies to reduce the confusion and build strong connections. Moving forward. So language creates culture. The words we use for from the like building trust and identity within our team, rituals such as like feedback phrases and meeting names, streamlining collaborations. Our language reflects how strong and effective our team culture truly is. Moving forward. Language defines clarity. By defining term of roles, process, and feedbacks, we ensure that everyone is on the same page. So this makes work more like predictable and learnable. For example, when we are saying escalation, right? Escalation is not just a blame game or it is just for help. So the way we use shapes like language shapes the way we approach problems and collaboration. Over to you, Zainab.
So, a leader must clearly explain their strategy to build trust and guide the team. Because without clear language, confusion can grow in the team and mixed messages can go. Moving forward. So, language is very important. It's not just a way to communicate, it's a tool to shape the thinking and the culture of the organization. By designing the language thoughtfully, we can make the communication clear and bring growth to the organization.
Thank you, Team Cognitive Connectors, for your pitch. Over to Team Lexicon Architects for their questions.
Uh, Apart from clear communication, what are the other aspects of language you would say that brings growth?
Okay, I would
So
like
the
to.
lang-
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, Zainab.
yeah. So the language should intentionally it should align with the goal of the organization, and the leader should explain the vision. to the team so that we can bring growth accordingly.
No, I meant that clear communication I understood from our pitches as well that it's important to ensure growth. What do you think there are other things in language that should ensure growth? What are the other aspects? Can you
Pos-
give me an example? Yeah,
posi-
sorry.
Positivity can be one of the aspect.
I would like to add some few points like positivity. With that positivity, I think impact how you are using the language with various personalities. Like when you are communicating with someone, your language should vary, right? So that's also a point I would like to add. Right.
Does that answer your question, Ami?
Yes.
I would like to ask a question. When we build a language for our ecosystem, how does it help us to have a conversation with an outsider? Or like if it even helps to have a conversation with an outsider?
I would like to answer that question. What I understood from my perspective that when you are certainly communicating with your own members in a certain way, you also get that idea like how to communicate with person or anyone in general, right? So how communication should create an impact at the same time, not uh, being too harsh or being gentle. It should be in a way that it it puts the point what you are actually wants to communicate, but in a way that that person wants to hear. So that's what I think it helps.
Adding up to that, how we communicate with different teams and different people should be different. It should be according to their priorities. And when we are talking with external person, it should be clear and the CTA should be clear so that they can act immediately. Because a lot of time people are very busy and they tend to neglect the task if we uh, move the task longer.
I have a follow-up. Do you think a team's, a particular let the team A's idea of clear and team B's idea of clear same, or it can be contrasting?
Can you please simplify it more?
Sure. For example, there are two teams, team A, team B. They have different priorities, but they are working on a common task together. And a concept, let it be something, anything. It is, if team A feels that it's clear to them, and they try to make it simple, and whatever their idea of clear is, they convey the message to team B. But do you think always the idea of team clear A is same for team B? Like they both think the concept is clear, or it can be different. What team A feels is easy to understand, team B might not feel it's easy to understand.
No, it varies. No, it depends upon any person's intellectual like understanding, how much understanding that person have. Like it doesn't even varies with teams. It also varies with person to person. How much a person have that intellectual to understand anything as fast. Like some people can understand something very fast, but some people need some time. But that doesn't mean that people doesn't have that kind of like perform well, but it depends, right?
In that way, what's the approach we should use to convey our message?
I think when we are conveying any message, it should be simpler, like anyone can understand. Our like first priority should be that okay, anyone can understand. Then if someone is not understanding, the person who is understanding, that person can convey it to them that in a simpler way, that that person like helping one another, right? It should be there.
Yeah, but for example, team A have a concept. They think it's simple. Everyone is getting it, understanding it. Oh, this means that. But team B is not understanding. So why team A feels it's simple to them, but team B is not feeling it's simple?
Yeah, so before talking, we should also understand the mindset of the people and where are they coming from, and the is the concept new for them, or they have implemented it before. So according to that, we can write our message, or we can frame
Yeah.
our language.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question. So let's suppose that there's a leader and he's using all these things, good communication, using positive language. He has a proper language defined for his team. So how can he can we say that calculate that this is actually affecting the growth of the team or not?
I think he or she can measure the output or the outcomes, or how much the time, like the timeline also, right? How much timeline it is taking to giving you certain KPI or certain outcome in a long run, I will say. That also, if that person compare it, then I think the leader will understand ki, okay, if I am using the simpler language or whatever I am using right now is helping people to get the idea, like get what it get whatever he or she wants in a faster way, I will say.
But uh, those may be results from something else as well, might changing their process or changing their framework. I'm just curious, how can we ensure that the language shift actually aligns with the growth? It actually promises that a company will grow.
That can come from experimentation and regular updates. You can directly ask ask people like what's they about the understandability on the concept. If you asked earlier and if you ask now, if you can see the difference, then you can calculate.
Also, I wanted to add something like language is the base, right? Whatever workflow, whatever things are you are creating, plannings, workflow, sprint plan, everything. Language is the best base. So if the person is the simple language is not helping, then any workflow, any sprint plan, nothing will help them to achieve that growth, right?
Right, got
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we can close this round. So before ending today's Socratic dialogue session, I would request any of you if you would like to go for reflections, 3 reflections we can. Who would like to go first?
I would like to share a reflection. So, based on today's discussion, I realized that setting language as a base for any team or any environment, even in a company or even in a college, I may say, even in school, that actually affects not just the practical work, but actually also the mindset of the people working there. And it can lead to the shift of their mindset from just following the orders or just understanding what they're asked to do, to actually being able to contribute and to being able to recognize the problems or being creative, like anything that the organization is oriented to, that can be achieved by shifting their language, because language is, as Chanda said, the base for everything. Thank you.
think reflecting onto that, I will use language, like the choice of words, way more carefully in my workflow because it's a very powerful tool more than any. Like, so this is not a tool of communication, but it can actually change things in this environment. Whatever word we are using, however we are approaching the situation, the impact can be really insightful and create a growth culture.
Great. Thank you, Anushri. Thank you, Nandini. Who else would like to reflect?
Okay, I want to reflect. So language is, as I said, it's a base, right? It helps like whenever you like from communication to creating workflow to creating anything, any software, any hardware, any website, anything. Language is the key thing, which I understood from this is like ST. Like it is if language is not simple and or language is not understandable, then everything uh, will go into vain because like language is that base you can't uh, I would say you can't compromise with. You have to be more focused on the language from to the base and then you have to build everything you want. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Suchandra. Thank you, everyone, for joining for today's ST.